Let's talk a little bit about rowing. Anybody can get on a rower and just get it going and get their heart rate up and feel like they're working. And that is great. That's one of the best things about the rower. But there is a technique to it, and also there is some stuff that you're going to want to know about the screen and how it works. So I'm just going to briefly touch on some of that stuff. So first off, let's talk about how you set up your rower. So for you need to set your feet things, slide them up, slide them down, depending on the size of your feet. Okay, so I usually set mine around a 4 because I wear a size 9 shoe for women. So when you slide your feet in, if you're not sure where to set them, you want that strap to kind of come across your knuckles on your toes. So that's where you want that to set. Okay, so that's me. For me, that's about a 4. Now, you're also going to want to set your damper. Your damper is on the side of your rower. It goes from a 1 all the way up to a 9 or a 10. So where should you set it? If you're a little bit of a stronger rower, you might want to set it a little bit higher. If you're a little bit of not as much of a power athlete, you might want to set it lower. Either way, I wouldn't suggest going anywhere lower than a 3 or anywhere higher than an 8. So for myself, I usually set it around 6 or 7 because I consider myself a little bit more of a power athlete. That way when I pull, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to pull, but I know that I'm strong, so I'm able to do it and I get more out of it. If you're not as strong, you might want to go a little bit lower so you're not forced to waste a lot of energy trying to pull something that's a little bit more challenging for you. Okay, then when we turn on our rower, we're either going to row usually for calories or meters. So in order to change your rower, to be able to see that, you want to hit the units button. It'll go from meters to average per 500 to average watts and then to calories. So kind of decide what you need to do. Sometimes we'll do calories, sometimes we'll do meters. When I'm rowing, talking about technique, I'm going to get my feet in and I want my straps to be relatively tight so that my feet don't slide around too much. You're going to start this stroke. First, if you want to get the rower going, you might want to take a few short little pulls to get that going, and then you're going to settle into your stroke. Ideally, you want to think legs, lean, and then arms, and reverse on the way back in. So your arms go first, then you pass your knees start to bend, and then you lean. So lean, legs, arms, pulling at the last second, reverse it back in, arms, lean, legs. Think about pressing through your heels, squeezing your butt. When I go back in, my chain should not flop up and down. So if it's flopping around, that means I'm doing something wrong. My chain should stay nice and straight. It should go straight in and then straight out. So it should never be a little floppy or hitting off the top or the bottom of the rower. Also, something to think about. You don't need to reach all the way in and touch your rowing handle. When my back is rounded like this, that's not a good thing. So I'm only going to go in as far as I can while keeping my back flat. I don't need to overreach. This is a no. This is not good technique. And then this is a yes. Now, looking at our screen, okay, what are we looking for here? We have our strokes per minute down in the corner. That tells you how hard you're working. So if your strokes per minute are over 30, that means you're working pretty hard and you're really turning that flywheel. You might not need to do that as much as you think you do. Ideally, your strokes per minute on an average workout, where you're rowing at a nice average pace, should be high 20s to mid 20s. What we're looking for is efficiency here. So you want your calories per hour to be high with your strokes per minute as low as possible. That means you're working very efficiently. Now, same thing, if I switch over to meters, I want my strokes per minute again, to be as low as possible while maintaining a relatively good split per 500 meters. So for me personally, and you guys will figure this out on your own as you go, you kind of have to pay attention to your screen and kind of know where you are best suited personally. But when I'm rowing, I try to stay under 30 strokes per minute, so maybe like 28 or 27, while hitting a split in a WOD of below 2 minutes per 500 meters. If I'm sprinting and I need to be sprinting, then that's going to be lower. It's going to be like a 148 or a 150. If I'm pacing myself through a very long workout, I might be over 2 minutes. I might be at a 2:05 at the most. That's usually kind of where I kind of set myself up for success. Again, those numbers aren't true to you necessarily. That's just giving an example of what I look at for myself. Okay, so that's all some stuff to think about, and that is not even every detail. But if you guys have questions or want more detailed videos on rowing, then feel free to reach out or comment below.